Hey friends, it's Cassie. Welcome back for another Pearblossom press video. Today we're going to be working with the one light. I have the halo light combo and it comes with several of the one lights, so we're going to use one of those from this pack. I love that there is a combo because I've used the halo lights like crazy and I love these one lights also. So you're just going to want to put the battery in there. That's how easy it is to assemble, and then you're good to go. Just make sure the plus sign is up. We're also going to be using this adorable stamp set from Trinity Stamps. We're using this particular stamp. I'm going to butcher the name. Hau'oli yeah, I'm going to butcher it. So it's adorable. I'll have it listed down below. And then we also have a circle die. We're going to be using some watercolor paper and some distressed watercolor pencils. So let me pull out my stamp set and we're going to grab that image of the adorable palm tree all decorated up for Christmas. And then we're going to also grab in a couple of the sentiments as well. We are going to make, as you saw, a tag turned ornament or ornament turned tag, however you want to do it. I love doing this. It's one of my favorite things to do around Christmas time because your friends are going to want to keep your tags anyway. So you might as well just take it up a notch and turn it into an ornament. Not only an ornament, but an ornament that lights up. So as I said, this is watercolor paper. This one's from Arteza, and I've inked up my images using some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. That is just an ink that is waterproof, so it works perfectly with your watercolor crayons or watercolors or whatever you're using that is a water medium or wet medium. And so I'm going to just ink that up a couple times and make sure that's good to go. I actually have 3 of the sets. I bought myself the other 3 sets recently because I really like these watercolor crayons. I know I'm late to the party. I had sets 4, 5, and 6, so I did buy 1, 2, and 3 recently because I love them. They're so much fun. There's a couple different ways to color with them. As you'll see, I'm coloring directly onto the watercolor paper using that forest moss. I believe that's the color that I'm using. And then I'm going to come in with some bundled sage, and we're going to just take our pen right to the crayon and we're going to blend those colors together. So you can color right on your watercolor paper and bring in your water brush and you can blend it out that way. Or like I tend to do a lot of the time is bring my brush to my crayon and do it that way. I do the same thing with watercolor pencils sometimes as well. This is just my favorite way. I feel like it gives me a lot more control, a lot more detail. But if you're looking for more of the pencil look, you can go directly to your paper and then bring your water in from there. But you're definitely going to want to use a watercolor paper. Now the watercolor paper I've chosen is not quite as stark white as I would typically love. If you're looking for something a little bit more stark white, the distressed watercolor paper is perfect for that. I just find that buying the big pad, sometimes like this for the Arteza pad, is a lot more cost effective for me. So that's kind of what I do, and I'll just cut down my papers. But you can get those distress watercolor cardstock in the different sizes. You can get them that are already cut to A2 size, which is, wonderful for a lot of us who are card makers. But I don't mind cutting my paper down, so there we go. Bringing in, I think it's that same set. I don't remember which set this one is, but I'll have them all linked down below. And then I'm going to color our packages. As you see, I'm just bringing in that color and coloring up all the pieces. So I do have a question for you. When you are getting your packages ready for Christmas, if you celebrate Christmas, do you try to decorate your packages all the same with the same ribbon, same colored paper? Or are you one of those that likes to do all your packages a little bit differently? I grew up with a mom who was, she was all in. She made the magic of Christmas for sure. And so she would decorate all of our packages a little bit differently with different papers and different bows. And it was just so magical to come downstairs and see all the packages like that. Now, do I do that? I do not. Part of that is because we move as often as we do. So for me to have all the different kinds of wrapping paper is a little bit more difficult. And I know it makes my husband's heart very happy when I use something up and then it's gone. So I tend to just do, one kind of paper and ribbon, and then everybody gets the same kind of look there. But I do remember and love how my mom always used to do that. It was wonderful. So I'd love to know what you guys do. All right, we're about to finish up here, just finishing up those ornaments. And then you are going to want to make sure that everything is nice and dry before you bring in the matching dyes. Mine is. This dries pretty quickly. It's just the watercolor crayon, so there isn't as much wetness as you might think. So I'm just going to tack down my dyes. I also have them for the sentiments, and we'll run that through our die cutting machine. I love the detail on the die. You see how it even cuts out some of the stuff in the tree. That just makes me happy. So now we're going to move on to the assembly of our ornament. I did pull in this die set, this circle die. Just go through your stash and see what you have. You're just going to want to make sure that you have a circle that's a little bit bigger than your image, because you want to make sure that you have plenty of room for your foam tape and your mechanism. And so I just picked this one and I cut it out of 2 blues because we need a front and a back. And then I decided to bring in a couple more of those circle dies, and I'm going to put a frame around this. So we're going to try to line those up as evenly as possible and run this through our die cutting machine to get a nice white ring. And then I can put that on the front of my ornament or tag. However you're doing this, I will probably use it as a tag, and then whoever can use it as an ornament. All right, so now we're going to just glue down that ring to the front. This just adds a little bit more. You could use, some ink blending, however you want to do that, but you have a lot of options here. Like I said, this is one of my favorite things to do around the holidays, is to make the tags that people can use as ornaments. And I made several light ups last year. Oh my goodness, the response from those. So I think I'm going to do that for several of the ladies that I work with here on post. So now we're going to glue down our tree. I'm just using some liquid glue. And then we'll put that down. And I'm not going to put our sentiments down just yet. I tend to overthink exactly where my mechanism is going to go. So I'm kind of playing around with that here after I poke my hole. But to poke my hole, I'm just using my paper piercer. And I move that in a circular motion to make sure that that circle gets a little bit bigger. I want to make sure that that light is really going to come through. And then I'll put that right over the top of the back piece, and I'll mark through the hole on the other piece so I know exactly where to put my light. Again, I overthink where the mechanism is supposed to go. I would love to make this one where the battery could be replaced if needed. But these batteries last an awful long time. So I think you're going to be good to go. I have a couple that I made from a couple Christmases ago, pack them away every year, and they are still lighting up. So that feels pretty good. Now to add our foam tape, which this is the world's best foam tape. It's not just the name, it's actually what it is. I'm going to trim these down into smaller widths. And so I'm going to peel off the release paper on both sides. That'll make it so that this foam tape is a little bit easier to maneuver around the outside edge of my ornament. I want this to be as uniform on the outside as possible because you will see it when you're looking at the side. And so we'll do the same thing with the other piece. If you have any leftovers, you can just trim it. And then you can put that in the center because I don't want this to collapse in the center. So I'm going to put a couple more pieces there. Now, what makes this the world's best foam tape is it's not only great for light ups, it's also great for shakers. So keep that in mind. And then you're going to see here real quick why it's even better. So I put this down, forgot that I need to put my ribbon, or in this case, my baker's twine on there. So it peels back just fine. It is repositionable for up to 30 minutes afterwards, which is fabulous. And then after about 24 hours, it is definitely permanent. So yeah, you have some time to work with that. And the last few times I've worked with the foam tape, I have screwed up something. And so I've had to pull back, and I'm always so thankful that I have this tape. So yeah, even me, somebody who's made cards for well over 20 years, ends up having to reposition things. So don't feel like you're the only one. It's all of us. It is all of us. All right, so I am attaching down my baker's twine with just a little bit of double-sided adhesive, just making sure that's really on there. I'll peel off the release paper, and then now I can line this up over the top of where that light is going to be. As you can see, it did a good job. So now I'm just pressing that down pretty good. If I needed to pull that back, I sure could still, but we're good now. And then I'm going to adhere down my sentiment on the front that says Warm Holiday Wishes. And then I'm going to let that sit for a second. I'll bring in the Pearblossom Press stamp set, which has the little press me, push here, those things. And so I'm going to ink up this one, and I'm going to stamp it right down on the paper. I know I'm taking a risk, but even if it hadn't worked out, you could always stamp it onto another piece of paper, and you could cut it out and put it on the top. I never try to worry too much about that stuff because it is paper. You can always cover it or whatever, and it's still going to look really nice. So now I'm attaching the Mele Kalikimaka to the back, and then I'll have a little area at the bottom to write like Heart Cassie or whatever, to from. But that's going to finish off our little tag / ornament. I really love how this turned out. I think I'm going to have to make a couple more because it was so easy and I love how it turned out. If you like this video, be sure to hit that like button. Definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And a huge thanks to all of you that watch, subscribe, like, all that. Use my affiliate links. Y'all are amazing and I appreciate you. And thank you, and I will see you very soon in another video. Bye, everybody.